I'm back in my happy place prepping for having the girls over to celebrate one of their birthdays. And I tend to go into these prep days with like a vague idea of what I'm going to do, but just like to roll with it and see what I come up with as I prep. Now, this prep day is going to have to be two parts because I did a birthday pavlova and then 3 other dishes, and the birthday girl is a pescatarian, so we're only fish and veggies for this birthday bash. And of course, you can't have a birthday dinner without a birthday cake, but Liz owns her own baking business, PS Bakery, and makes and tastes cakes all day, every day. So when I realised I had 5 egg whites in the fridge, pavlova was on the cards. Now, this was really a trust the process situation for myself because I really didn't know where I was going with this. I just wanted to make it somewhat pretty and hopefully delicious like. Now, pavlova and meringue are slightly different. Meringue is simply just egg white and sugar slowly incorporated, but for pavlova, you add in an acid and cornstarch to give it that chewy centre, which personally is my favourite. Now, I've been using my mum's recipe for as long as I can remember, and she does 1 egg white to every 2 ounces of sugar. And you're just going to whisk your egg whites first until it becomes like a soft peak, so fluffy but slightly firm. And then you very slowly in stages add in your sugar, and you want your sugar to dissolve into your egg white as you whisk. And then halfway through, I just tossed in 2 teaspoons of cornstarch and 1 teaspoon of lemon juice. And then you just keep mixing your mixture until it gets really glossy, and when you pull out your whisk, it should hold its shape, and if you put it over your head, it shouldn't fall out. I made a strawberry compote to go on top, and I had forgotten that my friend had given me some rhubarb from her garden, so I just threw that in with the strawberries as well. A tiny bit of maple syrup, and then just cook that out low and slow on the stove for around a half an hour until it turned like kind of jammy, and then that got thrown into, well, a whiskey glass because I didn't have anything else left. Now, the reason I'm putting the cling film right down on it is because I don't want a skin to form, and the cling film will act as a skin. For the whipped cream, I just flavoured it with a bit of vanilla, ice and sugar, and then orange bitters, and you'd be surprised how deadly that is. When it comes to cooking a pavlova or meringue, we're not actually cooking it, we're technically just drying out the eggs, so it needs to go into a really low oven, so 200 degrees Fahrenheit or 100 degrees Celsius for a minimum of 2 hours. I had put fresh oranges on one of the dishes, and of course I didn't want to throw out the peel, so I just cooked it out in some sugar and water for around a half an hour on the hob, and then I just cut them up really small and tossed it in sugar so I could use it as a garnish. And then it was on to building it. So I started by just putting a tiny bit of cream onto the actual stand just so the pavlova would be a little bit stabilised. I washed out the Ziploc bag I used to pipe the pavlova and used that to pipe the cream on top, and I didn't want to make a mess of the cream, so I just dotted the compote on top and then used, well, it was actually my son's little knife to like spread it out nice and evenly. Covered the top of it then using those little teardrop pavlovas, just randomly placing them on until it was filled. Broke up that big piece of pavlova that I made into shards and then just placed that on top, and then just finished her off with some freshly cut strawberries, the orange peels, and a dusting of ice and sugar. So go on, pop the kettle on and get cooking. See you for part 2. Slán!